Wander Wealthy Podcast, episode 236. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Wander Wealthy Podcast. If you're brand new here, a warm welcome to you. My name is Tess Wicks. I am the host of this show that we have here, founder of Wander Wealthy and money coach turned business coach for all those aspiring, brand new, and even seasoned money coaches out there in the world. This podcast is also here for you. We are here to support you in learning how to build your booked out money coaching business, how to market and sell online using the power of social media, and how to actually coach and learn some of my best tips and tricks for supporting and holding space and helping your clients through their financial situations. So today we have a very fun episode in store. I'm going to be walking you through the 7 essentials to create a money coaching package that sells. How exciting. I have 7 different key things that I think you need, and I think a lot of people miss. Not all 7 of these, but I think they can miss a lot of these. And not only do I think that these 7 things are crucial to help you sell your coaching package, but also I think that they are crucial to make sure that your coaching package is life-changing, that it's actually providing what your clients need so that they can get results in their life. So this is very important. Get your notebook out, get your pen out, and let's start taking some notes and making sure that your coaching offering includes these 7 things so that it can not only sell online, but you can also start making changes in the lives of the people that you want to be working with or that maybe you are currently working with. Now, before I dive in, do not forget about this week's sponsor, which very, very exciting news. It is the Wealthy Coach Blueprint, which is my 12-week signature one-on-one coaching program for anyone who's looking to build their booked out money coaching business. But the Wealthy Coach Blueprint is open for enrollment currently. We are so excited. There are 7 spots available. However, I am pre-recording this, and I did already open the blueprint for enrollment on Tuesday of this week. So there may be less than 7 spots available now, just FYI. I do not know. I cannot tell the future, but I have a feeling because I do have some people who've been DMing me, letting me know how excited they were for this next round. So there could be less. There are likely less spots available, but the initial plan was to have 7 one-on-one spots available for anyone who's ready to make this fall, the autumn, if you will, of completely changing their lives and building the business that they wanted to build that will make a big impact, but also bring in some income into their life. And who knows what could happen after that, you know? If you want to quit your job, if you want to keep your job, but you just want to have a lucrative side hustle, whatever that looks like. So the Wealthy Coach Blueprint, we take 12 weeks to define or refine your niche market and the program that you want to offer to your ideal clients who happen to be, part of your niche market. And then we help you market and sell that program online in a way that feels natural, that feels good for you, that allows you to show up, be yourself, get consent from those who are looking to potentially work with you, and take them through a truly life-changing experience. So not only do we cover, obviously, these 7 essentials to create your money coaching package that sells and makes a difference, but we cover so much more inside of the blueprint. Plus, you get one-to-one support from me. We have accountability that is unmatched to make sure that you're actually taking action and executing upon what you're learning, and results. Yeah, my clients get results. So if you're interested, and if there's still space available, which just don't wait, head over to wanderwealthy.com/apply, scroll to the bottom of that beautiful, beautiful homepage PDF, if you will, that tells you all about the blueprint. And there will be a button there. And at that button, you can click it, fill out the application, and book yourself a little strategy session with me where we will get to know you. I will get to know you. You will get to know me. We will get to know each other. And you can learn way more about the blueprint. I can learn about you and your business, where you want to take it, and if the blueprint is the best fit. And then we will take things from there, my friend. So wanderwealthy.com/apply. I am so excited for this fall because we're getting intimate. We're going back to one-on-one coaching. It's what I know and love, and you're going to get super exclusive access to me, my eyeballs on your business, and we're going to make amazing things happen this autumn. Why do I love saying autumn? I don't know. So without further ado, let's dive in to the 7 essentials to create a coaching package for your financial coaching business that's going to sell. All right. I put these in order. Usually I'm like, just so you know, this is in no particular order, but this is in a particular order. And it's very important. Okay. So pay attention to the order. Make sure you have your notebook and your pen out or your pencil. And we're going to dive in. But first, let me give you like the overarching kind of idea of this. So in the blueprint specifically, I'm giving you a sneak peek. I introduce you to my E-cubed formula for creating a life-changing and super value-packed coaching package or program. And that is, here's the E3 or the E-cubed formula. I don't know why I said E3, but I think it just like sounds good too. But I like the idea of E cubed because I'm a money nerd and a financial nerd, and you know, we like to take things to their compound. Anyway, so the E cubed formula is education meets execution meets encouragement. So these are key to having a truly value-packed and effective coaching program for your clients, because not only are you helping them learn what they need to learn, you're also holding them accountable to actually take action through the execution piece. And then you're encouraging them and providing them with the support that they need to make sure that they're actually, you know, getting it done. Or if they are in that execution piece and they hit a roadblock, you can help them out of that. Or if there's a gap in the education piece, you can make sure that they are fully supported and you can fill that gap if necessary and if it's within, you know, your scope and your zone of genius and all of that good stuff. So these are like the overarching terms that I like to use when we're starting to design your coaching program. And we have a full step-by-step process that we do inside of the Wealthy Coach Blueprint, and it is just beautiful. We have so much fun with it. But I want to break it down for you a little bit more and share the 7 elements. Right? So that's the overarching, the education, execution, and encouragement. That's overarching. That gives you a little bit of a guideline. But now I want to talk about these elements that need to be included, that you need to consider for your coaching package or program in order for it to sell. And the number 1 element that is the most important is transformation. Okay? I'm going to apologize right now because I know you were like, what? I thought it was going to be like a spreadsheet, and we'll get to that, but transformation, and I know that's like a little bit, you know, pie in the sky. It's not super tangible thing, but it will be. And actually, transformation, the word and like the idea that you need to include this in your program doesn't feel tangible, but when you actually think about a transformation and providing a transformation and how your program has to include a transformation, that is the most tangible thing you can offer, right? There's a lot of people who, you know, are like, I'm going to become a coach, and they sign up for Instagram or whatever online platform and they start selling their coaching, and they basically just sell like 12 coaching calls, weekly coaching calls for 3 months, because that's kind of the status quo, if you will, in the coaching industry. Like, okay, 3-month package, 12 calls once a week. We're going to talk. We're going to solve your problems. And this, like, I can speak about this because I was about this. I used to do something very similar. I was lucky in the sense that I had somewhat of a clear niche. I had somewhat of an idea of what we were going to cover, but I still lacked very much a way to clearly articulate the transformation that my ideal client was going to receive. And so when I was trying to sell my program, I didn't have that clear, tangible transformation that I could explain, you know, that they would get from this work that we were going to do together. And so that's what ended up making my program significantly less sellable. And we're talking about elements that make your program sellable. Of course, also that make it impactful, but first and foremost, we got to sell in order to, you know, get the client to make the impact. And the transformation is key. So many people are walking around just saying like, okay, you know, 6 weeks of coaching or 12 weeks of weekly coaching or whatever, they're just kind of selling sessions without a clear transformation on what the person is actually going to get and what the goal is to walk away from at the end of this coaching relationship. Now, I know that this is also very hard for people, especially for a lot of aspiring coaches or even current coaches, because we know that one size does not fit all. We know that for some people, it could take 3 months to get the end-all transformation, and for others, it could take 3 years. And we're not saying to promise the end result, like end-all, be-all, you're going to be, let's say, debt-free by the end of this. But when you think about a transformation, I think it is important to think about not only the possibility of being debt-free is there, but there's also a possibility that you'll be on track to being debt-free in significantly less time than, where you're at right now, right? So whether it's debt freedom, saving for a home, retirement, even having a budget that actually works, right? But we really want to have some sort of tangible transformation that's going to come out of someone working with us. And I'm inviting you to overcome your hesitation to articulate and define what that transformation is, and work on overriding those kind of nagging thoughts that are telling you, oh, but you can't promise this, oh, but you can't guarantee this. We're not asking you to guarantee or promise. We're asking you to identify what that transformation is. And if that transformation is, no plan, feeling way in over my head, and know that I'm making good money but have nothing to show for it. 2, having a plan and actually being on track to becoming debt-free, and actually being on track to being able to put a down payment on a house in the next, 3 years or less. That's a transformation. And it's not super, super tied to a timeline. You can tie it to a timeline, but we're also just saying you're going to be way, 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 way more further along than you would be. And really, I'm asking you to articulate what that is. And if you can't, then that's one of the 7 things you might be lacking that is going to make your actual coaching sell online, especially. But I mean, in person too, whatever. So think about, what is the transformation I'm providing when I'm working with my clients? And if you are thinking about maybe clients you've worked with in the past and you're kind of all over the place, then we need to pick one and really hone in on that. And I know that that's scary, because then you feel like, well, people who want the other thing, let's say that you've worked with clients and you've helped them become debt-free. You've also helped clients, save up for a down payment on a home. You've also helped clients save for a wedding. And you feel a little bit like, well, I want to help clients with whatever goal they have. How can we tie this together? How can we either simplify and just define one goal and just take the people who are interested in that one goal, which, by the way, you'll still attract people who are interested in other goals. But the fact that you can help people achieve that goal helps them draw that line and realize oh, there's a real transformation here. How can you do that for your ideal clients? How can you help articulate their goals so that when they come across your program, they go, oh, this person's going to help me get there, because they've said it. They aren't just I'll help you achieve your goals. It's, I'll help you achieve that very next goal that is on the top of your mind, which is getting that down payment for a home, or again, fill in the blank. Okay. So number 1 is transformation. And there's a lot of programs that are lacking the ability to clearly define what that is and what they can provide for their clients. Number 2 is even more tangible than the transformation, and that is a framework, a method, a process. And I'm just going to use the word framework as an overarching term here, but you know what I'm talking about, framework, blueprint, process, method, something that is step by step. Now, here's where people get hung up with step by step. Okay, so this is we're actually taking it even a step more specific, but you got to have the transformation so that then you can go forward and create the framework, because otherwise you probably don't know where you're going. You probably don't know what sort of step by step thing you really need to put in place in order to create that transformation, right? So a framework is really key. In fact, I recorded a podcast episode about how that's probably one of the most important things in your business. Back in the day, let me find the number. It is episode 195. I said it's my secret weapon for business growth. It's your money coaching framework. So go check that out if you haven't listened to that episode 195. But a framework is super important because what it does is it allows your potential clients to actually have something to wrap their claws around when they start to work with you. I think a lot of people's hesitations in hiring a coach is coaching is such a new industry. They're like, but what do I get out of this? Right? So if you have a transformation that can define this is what you can expect to get out of this, that's one thing. Then you can take it a layer deeper and actually say, I have a step-by-step framework that I'm going to walk you through in our 12 weeks of working together, or again, however long it is, that you're going to be able to go through. You're going to be able to experience that. You're going to be able to know exactly where you're at in the process. You're going to know what comes next. You're going to know what obviously came before that. And you're going to feel like there's a purpose and there's a plan here that probably you were lacking in your life before. So instead of just hiring a coach just to talk to them once a week, which I guarantee is one of the biggest hesitancies for a lot of people in hiring a coach, is they feel like, well, what's the point? What are we going to talk about? Where are we going to go? What's the plan, right? You actually have a plan and you can walk them through that plan. Now, I was saying earlier that there's a lot of hesitancies to putting a step-by-step framework in place for a lot of people because they don't feel like it's sequential. They don't feel like what they're going to cover with their clients is sequential. And that's typically not the case for a lot of things, in money coaching and business coaching and life coaching and a lot of different things. What came first, the chicken or the egg, is not really important when you're putting your framework together to sell. So here's the deal. It's still really good to have a step-by-step framework and for you to just decide as the coach, as the leader, decide what goes first, what comes next, okay? That might change. It might change on a client-by-client basis, but you're selling a framework. We need to at least just know, okay, these are the steps we're going to go through. Now, are you going to go through them in that order? Maybe not, but you don't need to worry about that until you're actually working with the client. And then you can, again, personalize your framework for the client. But at least come up with something that you can put in priority order, in sequence, to the best of your abilities, to how you might have applied it to your life, right? This is just to sell and position it out there, is to put it in some sort of sequence, in some sort of order, because that's how the human brain works. That's what people appreciate, is oh, there's a process. There's a step-by-step order to this. Because we go out into life, right? We become adults and then we're like, oh my gosh, we didn't learn any of this in school. We don't know where to start. And after seeing probably thousands of market research interviews at this point across lots of different niches, right? Is it niches or niche? I don't know the plural, but plural of niche. With a lot of my clients, so many people, no matter what walk of life they come from, no matter what level of education, no matter what problem they are really looking to solve, so many people say, I just don't know where to start, right? And that is a step. And they don't know where to start. They don't know what to do next. They don't know what to do next. They don't know what to start with. And so just doing the work for them and saying, I've put the framework together, that takes so much weight off of someone's shoulders. That makes them feel like I'm in good hands. This person's going to take care of me because they have a step-by-step framework that we can go through together. And again, whether you're going to change up which step comes first and which step comes next, or if, two are interchangeable, you can cross that bridge when you get there in your coaching. But that's none of their business. And don't put that weight for them to bear. Don't put that pressure on them to have to decide when they're looking for this relief. So you can sell it in a framework package, and then this is a framework, but it's still going to be personalized to you. And that's also the bonus of working with someone one-on-one in money coaching, is it should be personalized to an extent, right? It should be frameworked to an extent, and then you're allowed to personalize it from there so you can take care of that. So it's okay to have hesitations around what comes first, what comes next. Pick one. Pick the one that makes most sense to you. And then again, remember, you can always change it to personalize it later on. But creating a framework makes your program or your package so sellable because it allows that pressure to be taken off the client. They're like, great, they have the plan. I just want to plug and play. Let's go. Let's do this, right? The third element is educational material. Now, this isn't required in every single coaching package, but I think it adds so much value for so many people, for so many coaches, as well as for their clients, is actually, if you have a framework in place, again, we're taking it even a layer deeper that says you can provide kind of some foundational educational materials to help them learn how to actually implement that framework. So there's education in the sense of like, let me define what compound interest is for you. And then there's also education in the sense of, we're going to set up a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, and this is the step-by-step how you do it. But I'm going to pre-record that, or I'm going to walk you through it with screenshots in a PDF. However you provide the educational material it doesn't matter. Like, do what's best for your ideal clients, but actually creating some sort of like foundational elements in terms of educational material that they can refer to can be really, really, really beneficial. Again, this is more tangible stuff that they can like latch onto, which again, because coaching is so new and it seems like, well, the question is like, what am I really getting out of this? I don't understand. When you can back it up with like, you're also going to get this educational material that'll teach you how to do this or teach you what something is, that makes them feel even more supported and safe and confident in investing with you. So when you can provide that educational material, it's super key in being able to sell your program, but it's also super key in actually making an impact because it makes your life easier as the coach. You can focus your actual coaching sessions on getting deeper, right? You can deliver that educational material and then focus your coaching sessions on like problem solving or answering questions that might have come up from the material. And you actually get to provide even more value in your sessions because you get to take it to that next level instead of actually providing that education during the coaching sessions. So when you have that like pre-created educational material, whether it's a video, whether it's just a PowerPoint that you send, whether it's a PDF, whether it's an audio recording, however you can get them that information, if you can send that over, that adds value to your program, makes it more sellable, but it also makes it more impactful, okay? Element number 4 are tools and resources. So a lot of people think this is the most important, right? Like the spreadsheet or the calculator or whatever you call any of these things. But it's really, it can be helpful. It's definitely a value add. It's not the most important, like a transformation or a framework, but it's still in there. And when I'm talking about tools and resources, these are like supportive materials or tools, right? That can help your client get the result faster, quicker, better, more efficiently, whatever's going to just like help them. So in the money coaching world, this looks like calculators. This might look like a dashboard where they can record all of their data. This might look like a checklist. There's a lot of different things. And, I probably should have included this as well, but I like to consider the tools and resources also as like the homework, okay? So when we're talking about the execution E in the E cubed formula, right? Execution is like taking all that educational material and actually implementing upon it, right? Because you don't get a transformation if you just learn things. You have to implement. You have to take action in order to actually see the results, right? Results come from action. They don't come from just like information consumption. So the tools and resources are for actually like taking action. It's supportive tools and materials that allow you to make it easier to implement upon what you're learning. It allows, and as the coach, you can say like, okay, your homework is to fill out this tool or to, review this resource or to do this thing. So providing tools and resources, I think, is very, it adds a lot of value to your program because people like to see that like you have these additional things that you can provide them that they can fill out, and it's just going to make their life easier. But it's also beneficial in terms of the actual impact because it's a way to have your clients showcase that they actually have learned something and that they're taking action to get said results. So Again, it can also be like a budget. Like maybe you actually provide them with the budget, whether that's an app or a spreadsheet or a printable, whatever that looks like. So budgets, calculators, checklists, a dashboard, a way to just like record or track progress. All of that is really good stuff and really effective stuff when it comes to money coaching. The fifth element is, less tangible for you, but definitely important and tangible for your clients. And this is something that I've been kind of alluding to. I don't think it's important, like, again, top priority in selling your program, but I think it's super key in having it somewhere on your sales page or in your language, so people can get a grasp for how the transformation is really going to take place and what that's going to look like. And that is your duration of your program and the session frequency within your program. Okay. So duration, that's the 12 weeks or the 3 months or the 6 months or the 1 year, however, or, it can even be like 4 weeks or 6 weeks. However long your program is, it is the duration. It's what allows a client to be able to see when you articulate the transformation, then to kind of pull it into their life by looking at it along a timeline. So the duration is key. It's important. It's not like the most important thing, right? Because everyone's like, well, what's the best length of time for a coaching program? Well, that really depends on your ideal client and the goals that they really want to accomplish and, how you're setting out to help them accomplish those goals. And then also remembering that, some clients could accomplish the goal in that amount of time, but also with money coaching, it can take longer. And that might mean that you enroll them in a continuation program after kind of your main intensive program or whatever you want to call it. So duration is important, but you have to align it with your ideal clients and what makes sense for them and their goals and how you can get the material across to them and get them kind of taking action and implementing so that they can reach the goal in that time frame or beyond that time frame, but again, be well on their way to actually reaching the goal once they've completed the duration of your program. So I feel like I've said goal and duration and timeline and client a lot, but that's really what we're looking at. Now, that's kind of the same with session frequency. A lot of people think, oh, I have to talk to my clients once per week because that's what every other coaching program looks like. Or they make other assumptions. But I honestly recommend first seeing what your client could bear, like seeing what your ideal clients, interviewing your ideal clients to really find out like what does truly feel supportive. Because there's a lot of people who are too busy for a once a week, right? And there's a lot of people who might need a once a week, or maybe they need twice per week, whereas other people are like, I'm good with once a month, thank you. So interview them, find out what works for their schedule and their life, right? Because every different kind of subgroup of people are going to have different needs, different schedules, different desires. So figuring that out, and then again, kind of cross-comparing it with what you're trying to take them through, how you're trying to help them achieve said goal, and what makes the most sense in delivering your program. But once you identify that, then it's obviously important to promote that in your marketing. And, it's not like, again, the most important thing. The duration and the session frequency of your program is not what sells your program, but it's a good supporting character to help kind of tie it all together for them when they're thinking about the transformation and the framework and the materials that you're offering them, and then to kind of pull it into the boundary of your duration and how often you're going to be speaking with them in a coaching session. So duration and session frequency, great, but it's number 5. We're like almost to the end of the list. And, it's almost like the least important, but these last 3 are all kind of like, they're just good to define so that you can nod to them because they're supporting characters, but they're not the utmost important. But I think people get this list backwards. They think that like duration and session frequency is the most important when in fact, it has very little to do with like how sellable your program is. It's just important to kind of tie all the loose ends together. So number 6, the 6th element that you need to include in your program so you can market and sell it with ease is ultimately like how you're going to conduct accountability. So again, getting back to that execution piece, accountability is super, super important in a coaching program. I think that's like one of the main jobs of a coach is to actually hold your clients accountable to taking action. Because ultimately, what does a coach do? It helps bridge the gap and collapse time between where your client is at and where they want to go. And yeah, you provide them like with the tools and the resources and the education, but that only goes so far. Then there's the implementation and taking action. And a lot of people, what most people need in order for them to follow through with wanting to take action and implement, is the accountability. So accountability is key. Now, what I'm including here in terms of like what you need in your program so that you can sell it is a way to conduct that accountability. How are you going to make it happen? And this kind of relates to like the duration and session frequency, in the sense that like, is your accountability going to stand alone from how often you're going to be chatting with your clients in terms of like having a coaching session, or is it going to be part of the coaching session? Do you have additional ways to conduct the accountability? Are you going to use Google Forms? Are you going to use an online tracker? How are you going to just like keep your client accountable? And really sitting with that and thinking about different ways you can do that and ensure that they're basically following through with the items that they need to implement and do to make real progress. So this is like at the end of the list, because there's not a really good way to market this. Like, you could market accountability, but in terms of like how you get it done is less important until maybe you're on the sales call and if a client is super curious about what that looks like. But it is really important to include in your program and to remember that it's a key part. It's important to promote just accountability as a topic and the fact that it's super important in terms of coaching. And it's important for you to figure out as the coach, like, how are we going to conduct this so that you know how to implement it? So this is like far more important in terms of the impact of your program, less important for the sellability, but it's still a sellable and, it's a selling element. So we include it, but again, it's like, think about it, figure out the answer to it. Don't worry about it much beyond that until obviously you're implementing it. That leads me to number 7. This is the last element that you want to include in a program to make it super sellable. And that is ultimately just like how you're going to provide additional support. Like, how are people going to continue to get support access from you in between coaching calls, right? Because we know that you're going to be doing your coaching sessions, whether that's in person, on Zoom, on the phone, however you make that happen. But how else are people going to feel supported so that they know that you have their back and that you're there for them and that they can ask you any question? They can fill in any gaps that might exist between coaching sessions, that might exist inside of the educational material, that might exist with the tools and resources and how it is, personalized or not to their personal situation or business situation if you're a financial business coach. And that is just identifying, whether you will or will not provide additional access to you and then what that looks like. So again, from a sellability element or angle, it's again, a supporting character. It's really great to let them know that they're going to get this unmatched support beyond just coaching sessions. They're also getting additional access to you to fill in those gaps, because that really, I think, helps like settle anyone's nerves or anxieties about investing in a coach and then feeling really let down. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people have experienced that. But, being able to mention that and let them know what that looks like. But then there's the actual implementing of it. And so it's the 7th element because, again, you should mention it. Great supporting character in terms of the sellability, definitely important. But in terms of like what that looks like, the access, that's the thing that's important in terms of making an impact, right? In terms of helping your ideal clients get the results, get the transformation. And so what you'll want to understand and address is like, what does that additional access look like? Are you giving them email support and email access so they just email you? Are you going to use Slack, WhatsApp? A lot of my clients are talking about Telegram. Of course, you can use Facebook Messenger or Instagram DMs, but you just want to make sure that it is one where you can really give your clients VIP access to you to get their questions answered. And, don't forget, always implement your boundaries. We just recorded a podcast episode all about boundaries that I implement in my business. So if you're wondering what that looks like in terms of providing this unlimited access to you, you can check that out. But having a way for your clients to get a hold of you between the sessions and make it very direct. Let them know, like, this is your VIP channel to reach me. So use this. It's really great. But make it that very clear and let them know that, like, outside of that channel, they're not going to get the response that they're looking for. So that's the 7 elements. Those are the 7 elements. Wow, we breezed through them. But those are the 7 elements to include in your money coaching program and package to make sure that you have in place from a marketing standpoint to make it sellable, but also to make sure that it's super, super impactful for your clients and you're able to help them get results. So quick review. Number 1, transformation. Number 2, a framework or a step-by-step method process, you name it. Number 3, educational materials. Number 4, tools and resources. Number 5, duration and session frequency. Number 6, a way to conduct that accountability. And number 7, how you're going to give them additional access, what that looks like for them. So if you have these elements, your program or package is going to be that much more sellable. You're going to be able to articulate that value really well when you're working with them, not only when you're working with them, but also when you're marketing it and selling it, or even in a sales call, and it's just going to get you results. So if you're looking to create your own life-changing coaching program, you're like, okay, but how does this all fit together? And you want more and you want support from me, then the Wealthy Coach Blueprint is where it's at. I have 7 spots, but remember, like, maybe less right now because I'm pre-recording this episode, but I have spots available for one-on-one clients to work with me across 3 months. This fall, we will be speaking once a week if you're curious about that. And really the goal is to build a life-changing coaching package or program for you that is marketable, that is sellable, so that you can be well on your way to your booked out money coaching business, whatever that means for you. If you want it to be part-time or full-time, we will determine those goals, and then we will make a plan to reach that and get you well on your way by the end of our 12 weeks of working together. So if this interests you, head to wanderwealthy.com/apply. Fill out the application, book a strategy session with me if there are still some available, and let's chat and find out if this is the best next step for you and your business. And if you want to check out the show notes of this week's episode, don't forget to go to wanderwealthypodcast.com/podcast/episode 236. You'll get all the goods there. And until next time, I hope you wander wealthy.